Mwah. Hey guys, what's up? It is Lexi and I am back. Today's video is going to be my part 2 to my Brujeria series where I talk all about my cleanses and everything that happened, the details, everything. I'm sorry I've taken such a long time off. I've had a bunch of stuff going on, and then on top of it, I didn't know what I should and shouldn't talk about in this video, but I am going to try to be more consistent for sure. So before we start, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. You can join our little spooky fam. We talk everything paranormal, everything supernatural, and if you're interested in that, I am gonna leave my paranormal playlist up here or in the description. But anyway, let's just get into it. So if you haven't watched Mother-in-Law de Brujeria on my family video and my part 1 to this series, I'd consider watching those first just so you can get backstory on everything leading up to this point and why I had to get cleanses done in the first place. Long story short, someone did work on me. They did Brujeria on me. They dropped off a crow in front of my house. From that point forward, everything went downhill. Like, I was doing bad. My mental health, whack! My physical health, whack! My spiritual health, whack! Like, everything that could go wrong went wrong. When the paranormal stuff is going on in my house, I get really sick. But this time it was different. I felt sick and like just disgusting all the time. I looked different. And the paranormal stuff, that stuff was still happening, but everything like tripled, intensified. So soon after everything kicked off, I was already asking around and I was interested in looking for someone to cleanse me. I was interested, but I wasn't like, I absolutely need one at this point. So I started asking a few friends like, hey, do you have anyone that can help me out? And one friend in particular was like, I have someone that can help you and can give you a cleanse that I've been to, but they're not gonna be in town for a few weeks. So I'm like, well, fuck. All right, after that, I kind of just put it out of my head and I was like, well, I guess I'll do it when she's back. This is when I had a few more really creepy, weird experiences. I had that thing that was walking back and forth in my kitchen, those creepy choking noises that were happening, and then the feelings. Like, every time something like this would happen, I would get this feeling. It was an intense fear. And it was usually happening to me only, mostly when I was here by myself. So around this time, I go to work this one day and I see a coworker and they're looking at me like, you're not looking good, you're not acting like yourself, you don't look like yourself. I'm like, no, whatever. So I talked to my husband about it and he says the same thing. He's like, you don't look good. So I snap those pictures and that's when I'm like, okay, like something is wrong. That is when I start looking again to see if I can get a cleanse. So I find this shop on Google. It's kind of close to me and the reviews are looking good. I walk into the shop. I talk to the lady and she's like, I can't help you personally, but I know someone who can. She gives me her number and I call her and she says she's not available for a few days. So I end up waiting for her as well. I think it was like 9-10 days total that I had to wait for her. While I'm waiting for her, a bunch of other stuff is happening in that small period of time. So by the time I finally get to this girl, we're gonna name her Jenny, I'm like desperate to get this cleanse done. I go to her apartment and she was not what I was expecting at all. Like, she was pretty young. She was around my age, but she had a really old soul and she was very knowledgeable, very smart in what she was doing. So I had a lot of trust in her and she made me feel like I could trust her. So I kind of start laying mostly everything out, like, this is what's happening. She's like, all right, well, let's sit down. I'm gonna read your cards. And right off the bat, she's like, this is why this is happening. This is why that's happening. And everything is making sense. So she tells me that the work that was being done to me was very much intentional, but that I'm also surrounded by a lot of people who are unintentionally giving me mal ojo. I'm gonna explain that in a bit as well. But she says before anything, the person that was doing the job did not do a good job at all. So she says first they used really cheap materials. She said that they tried to block me so I wasn't able to have my cards read or be read at all, and it didn't work. They were also supposed to bury the crow and they didn't. They just kind of plopped it in front of my house. With all that being said, she said that they still left that bird in front of my house with intention of harming me. So it still worked, just not the way they intended it to work. So she's telling me all this and I'm like, okay, well, I don't want any harm done to anybody. I just want everything reversed and taken off of me. And she's like, all right, cool, we could do that. So she starts kind of giving me a rundown of what we're gonna do next, what not to do, what to do. Like, when we're praying, close your eyes. When she's doing the ritual, make sure you're not crossing your legs because it's gonna undo what she's doing. She also told me not to take pictures, not to film. She ends up doing the egg cleanse first. So she has a brown egg. She cleanses that first. We say a prayer together. She finishes the entire egg cleanse. She goes to crack it and immediately I notice that it looks dirty, like it looks murky. And then I noticed that the white parts of the egg, it's kind of coming up. It has like white stringy parts. The way that she explained it to me was that the murkiness means that someone is trying to do harm to you. They're trying to get you down and they're being relentless about it. The cobwebs and like the stringy pieces means that I'm surrounded by people who are envious of me, jealous, throwing shade, people that are talking shit about me, and that it could very well be someone close to me. I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I know who that is. Like, I've had a few acquaintances where I'm pretty close to them and then I find out that they were talking crap about me. And I really want to do a video next where I talk about how to spiritually protect yourself and what to do, things not to do. For example, I no longer take food from other people. I cleanse myself before I come home. All of that energy that I have from the day, I am cleansing it and I don't bring it into my home, because that is an easy way to not only have something attached to you, but attached to your home. And then later on you realize like, oh shit, I'm sick, or oh shit, I have a ghost. That could all be different reasons to why that happens. So I definitely want to make a video on that. After she shows me the egg and like she kind of reads everything, she puts a bunch of spices into it. She says a prayer and then she has me throw it out. She ends up doing another egg cleanse on me. This one looks a lot better. And then she says she's gonna do a different cleanse on me as well. So this one she takes herbs and she cleanses me with it. After finishing the last one, I felt really good. I felt refreshed. I felt like I could take a deep breath and I didn't have something in the pit of my stomach telling me something's wrong. So after that, she tells me that I need to buy a certain candle. I need to light it this certain way for 7 days, something that's able to protect me, also reverse anything that is being given to me. So she does remind me this is not going to be like a one-time thing, a one-time fix. It's not going to fix everything, which I'm okay with. Like, I know that it's not going to be something that's just going to take everything away in one try. So I go home and I'm feeling good. So after that, I had a few days off of work that I had requested off prior. I go to work the next day after being gone for a few days. And then I realized that a few people after that, I start seeing a lot of dead animals. I start seeing a lot of feathers. That's when I see the feathers in the bathroom at work, in my area by my desk at work, in my purse. I see these things in the parking lot. I see a lot of dead animals by my house again. And then again, I start feeling something in the pit of my stomach. And I have something just screaming like something is not right, something is wrong. I'm starting to feel like maybe I'm just being paranoid, like I just got to cleanse, I should be fine. I start to feel really dark. So after that is when the thing, whatever it was, came up behind me when I was by myself and grabbed me by the back of the neck. I called Jenny back and I'm like, I gotta get in there. She's able to get me in there pretty quickly. I sit down with her, I'm talking to her, and she's looking at me kind of weird, but she's like, whatever. She sits down, she starts reading my cards, and then notices that she's not able to read me, meaning someone has blocked me. She's kind of looking at all her cards set down, like, has anything weird happened the past few days? I'm like, yeah. Like, I'm not feeling like myself. It's starting to feel like there's something wrong with me. So she's sitting there, she's trying to think. She ends up calling someone. She comes back into the room and she's like, all right, we're just gonna cleanse you. So she does an egg cleanse again. Sure enough, she pulls something out of the egg. I'm gonna show a picture of what it looked like. It was a big piece of white that was at the top. It's called a cape, meaning that the person that was doing work on me before went to someone else and they were able to block me so I wouldn't know who it is. So after this, she's able to fully cleanse me again. She's like, well, what do you want to do? Like, they're relentless. It doesn't seem like they want to stop. And I'm tired at this point. I'm like, I don't know. She ends up doing a candle on her end. It was kind of like a cord cutting spell. So she does it on her end. So I'm not there for it. She films it and she sends it to me. After she's done with it, I start to feel better again. But even with that last cleanse and her doing the cord cutting spell, I'm still noticing that there's a lot of paranormal activity going on. And the one that was happening a lot was the knocking, where it was actually on this corner right there. It was just a light knock all the way until morning. And if you've watched my old ass haunted house story, that used to happen too. And if you had seen that video, we were going through a lot of brujeria stuff back then too. So a few days go by and I'm still feeling pretty okay. Slowly but surely, I'm starting to get that feeling again. That sick feeling again. That feeling in the pit of my stomach, like something's wrong. And I would wake up with a little voice, like deep in the back of my brain, saying some vile shit for no reason. Just popped randomly in the middle of the day. I'm like, what the hell was that? Because that was not me. So that's when I started noticing like something is not right. I started talking to my friend, the first one that I had talked to about the cleanse, and he's like, hey, my friend's gonna be back from town soon. I can tell them if they can call you. I'm like, oh, hell yeah. So I'm waiting for this person to be available for me. Well, this one night, I'm at home, I'm with my husband, and we start getting into a crazy fight. I'm being vile towards him, and he's like looking at me crazy, and all this anger that's just spewing out of my mouth. Eventually, like, he calms me down. I'm crying, I'm holding him, he's holding me, and we hear a laugh. I hear a laugh behind me, and it's like an old woman laugh. After that, I was in the bathroom and I was on my phone. While I'm looking down like this on my phone, I see a reflection of an old face, an old woman face over mine. So it looked like it was over me. After that, the night that I'm gonna go get this cleanse done by this person, I had just gone off work, I'm parking the car, and when I turn around, something pops up in my face, and it's an old lady's face. An old, wrinkly, evil-looking lady, menacing. It looked the same both times. It was like this. And to be honest, it almost felt like it knew that I was gonna go to this new person and try to get rid of it. So it was trying to show itself and like scare me as much as possible to drain as much energy as it could from me. That's what it felt like. So I finally go and I meet Pablo. He's an older man. He's very wise. He's very blunt, very straightforward, but he also has a sense of peace surrounding him that I really felt like I could trust him. A sense of warmth and safety. And his wife felt the same way. We're talking, I introduce myself, and the first thing that I notice before I even sit down is an altar. So I see this altar and I notice that it is a Santa Muerte altar. It made me a little nervous because I've had a bad experience with someone who worked with SM, but I was like, I'm simply just getting a cleanse done. Maybe I'll give you guys another story time about the experience that I had with SM. So I sit down with him, we're talking. When I'm done talking about whatever I was talking about, he's like, you have spirits attached to you. You know that, right? I was like, well, I thought I had gotten rid of it. That you could easily pick up energy and spirits, attachments, anything demonic will see that and they'll piggyback on you. They'll stick to you, and that's probably what happened here. And it seems like you're not protecting your energy. You're not protecting yourself. So he says, first things first, I see a very masculine, very tense, angry energy around you. And it seems that he's been around for a long time because the way that he's attached to you. So that immediately fucking scares me. And he's like, okay, so you have another attachment, and this one is feminine energy. It probably started off as something good and then just turned itself into something really nasty and greedy. I ask him, even though I didn't want to, I'm like, is it an old lady? And he says yes, but it didn't show itself to you as an old lady. And I start thinking back, I'm like, what does he mean? When was the last time that I saw another female ghost? Oh yeah, it was when I saw a fucking child in my clothes. So I am sitting there just baffled, like, oh, so it pretended it was a child ghost? Is that the thing that's been running back and forth in my living room? He's like, could be. Okay. Is that the thing that's been choking, making that choking noise in my house? He's like, could be. I'm like, great. He also starts telling, so I start telling him, like, the last time that I saw another woman's ghost, it was when I saw a child. He's just casually, like, setting everything up. He says something that literally makes the hair on the back of my neck stand. It just gives me the chills. He says, well, that's not a child. But also, while you're saying all this, she's laughing at you. She's, huh? What did you say? She's laughing at you. And what do they say about child ghosts? There's no such thing as a child ghost. It's just a demonic figure trying to get you to trust them by showing up as a child ghost. So he's like, all right, we'll sit down. We're gonna start. This is when shit starts getting real. He takes my hand and we start doing a prayer together. He starts using the herbs with the holy water to cleanse me. We're still doing the prayer. And then he starts using smoke. He has sage while he is also praying. I have my hands down and I have my eyes closed, but then I'm noticing that his prayer is getting more and more intense and it's getting louder. So he continues to pray. I'm still sitting there with my eyes closed. So I kind of open my eyes a little bit and like glance up to see what's going on. And while I glance up, I see his wife. She's back there and she's sitting to the side looking over. And then I see her sit down and she starts praying. And then I feel him put his hand on my forehead. So when he puts his hand on my forehead, that's when I start to feel really uncomfortable and really hot. I feel like breathing super heavy, like I can't breathe. And as I'm breathing in and out, I'm breathing in faster and faster. But I feel like I can't do anything about it. Like I can't move, I can't push his hand off. I don't feel like I can do anything. So I'm just like this. And I just feel like, oh my God, I have to get this last breath out. And I can't. I feel like I just cannot take a deep breath. He's just getting louder and louder. He's still doing the smoke with one hand and he has his other hand like this. I'm very confused because I feel very uncomfortable. I feel very hot and I don't feel good and I don't know what's going on. So I'm sitting there and he's like, breathe me hot, it's fine, you're okay, just breathe. So I'm breathing, I'm starting to feel a little bit of relief. And as we're doing all this, I hear what appears to be a shriek. A scream. I hear it and I know what that is. A shriek that did not sound human. It sounded like a woman. So after that, he has some oil that he starts rubbing on my wrists, on my forehead, on my back, and he starts rubbing out my back. Breathe. Are you okay? And tell me if you feel like anything's gonna happen, if you're gonna fall. You stand up. So I stand up for him. I stand up and I feel huge heaviness just lifted off of me. And I was like, I think I'm okay. We end up doing a prayer together. We talk for a little longer. I drink some water. He gives me some candles to take home, tells me how to use them. So this is the end of the video. It was such a pain in the ass to edit because so much of the footage got corrupted. I managed to save like the last 10 minutes, but anything past that was gone. Also, I'm sorry for the bad quality. I'm looking into buying a nicer camera very soon. I'm also gonna film a crazy story time next, so hopefully I'll be able to get back into the groove of things. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you guys for being so patient. Thank you for the support. I love you guys. I'll see you guys soon.